Welcome to the Smart Property Investment Show with your host, Phil Tarrant.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Smart Property Investment Show. It's Phil Tarrant here. I am the host of the show and also editor of Smart Property Investment. Thanks for tuning in. It's that time again, that time of the week where we have another instalment, one of Australia's, if not Australia's, top show for property investors, which is pretty cool. I'm joined by Tim Neary, one of my regular co-hosts. Tim, how you going?
Good, Phil. Thank you for having me on the show again.
It's good, mate. I hope you're going to lend a hand in terms of having a chat to the two people we have in the studio today.
Certainly will do, Phil.
Interesting case study, this one. I think it's going to be love, property, marriage, and
Maccas.
wealth, and Maccas. That's how I'm going to summarise the upcoming podcast. I've got Alana and Robert Jones in the studio. How you going, guys?
Good, thanks.
Good, thank you. Thanks
So-
for having us.
Recently married.
That's right. Yeah, only 2 months ago, like the 1st of October. It's very good, I guess. I don't want to sound bad, but I guess our wedding's great and all, but I think for us, it was in a bit of a background at one stage because we were always focused on getting our first development deal this year, and finally we got it. So
you put property before the wedding?
a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
We were both. It was a joint thing, right, Lon? But we kind of let our friends help us out a lot, and we just focused on trying to get our first development site. So which was quite interesting. Was a actual sales rep that actually gave us our block of land. I was always going through agents, asking them.
Yeah.
And I just built rapport with project builders because obviously, once you buy, you want to build. And one of the project builders actually gave me a link to this realestate.com for a vacant block, and that's the one we actually went for.
So we'll have a chat about this. So a couple of things I want to try and cover off in this podcast. So Alana and Robert actually have a really nice property portfolio, and just chatting before we come on air, and this is what we're just discussing then. They've just gone through the process of buying a block that they're going to look to develop. So we'll get into that. But bit of background, guys. How many properties do you have in your combined portfolio?
We have a portfolio of 9 now. We've just settled on our 9th, which is the block of land.
Okay. And you guys, interestingly, were both property investors before you met and now have become husband and wife. Can you tell us about that story? How did you both sort of end up investing in property? And I hope there's a really good love story that you met at a Bunnings or somewhere other while you're shopping for renovation stuff.
Not at all. I think we kind of had property in the background, but it wasn't the forefront before we met. Like, we only had one each when we came together.
Okay.
But we both seemed to have the passion for property and wealth creation, I guess, and creating a better future. And that kind of seemed to just feel to what we've done in the last about almost 3 years now, to go from 2 to 9. So
2 to 9 in 3 years.
yeah.
So you're working pretty hard at it. So what do you guys do for a living? I imagine you both got jobs and stuff, but what sort of work do you do?
So I work in disabilities as
Okay.
a manager in accommodation services.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a Garbo.
You're
so,
Garbo.
Yeah.
So it's pretty late for you, mate. We're recording this at 5:30 at night. Don't you got to go to bed soon?
Yeah, not wrong. I'll be going to bed after this.
How many hours do you put in a week? Sort of
Yeah, maybe 65, 70 hours a week.
60, 70 hours a week?
Yeah, long days.
Plenty of overtime?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I'm there.
So the overtime doing that, obviously you get like time and a half and
yeah.
stuff, yeah.
That's right.
So has that helped sort of supercharge your ability to save deposits and sort of go into property? And I guess what I'm getting at here is that you're working damn hard to create a property portfolio that's going to provide for you in the future.
That's right, yeah. I guess just for example, the first house I got in 2012, I saved like 90% of my wage for 6 months, and I didn't see anyone for 6 months, but I knew what I wanted because I had a good influence with older friends when they said you should get into property. You've spent enough time on sports cars. I had my fun with that, and you spent a lot of money on them, and then I obviously wanted to they encouraged me, and that's what helped me to motivate to save heaps, because at that time I think it was the existing grant was ending, so I had to really jump on it. Like, I had enough, and then I had like 2 weeks to get a property, otherwise I'd miss out on the grant, which was, I think it was 7,000.
Yeah, the first amount of grant.
Yeah, which really helped. I had the deposit, and then my solicitor, conveyancer, said, you still need 11 grand for stamps, and I didn't even know what stamp duty was back then. So lucky that 7 grand really helped, which was good.
So your first property, Robert, you saved 90% of your salary for 6 months to raise a deposit.
That's right.
To buy your first. So when was this?
This was 2012. So September I got the property.
Okay.
So I think I started saving beginning of 2012, but I was using a high interest rate saver at the time. I think it was Ubank, and they were paying like 5.7%.
Pretty good.
So if you save more, they would reward you. So that's why I stayed with them, because everyone else was paying low 5s. If you could save more, they reward you, which was a good thing to see once you look at your chart. So they're going up online savings.
So you're working heaps of overtime then as well, I imagine?
Yeah, same hours. Same.
And you
long
can get
hours.
as many shifts as you wanted to sort of...
I was permanent casual, so I was doing 6 nights a week.
Okay.
Every week. So it was like 9 p.m. to 8 a.m.
Okay. And when you're sort of, working, were you thinking why you're doing this? Like, was that a big motivating force for you?
Well, the savings really helped me. That really motivated me to go, all right, I just got to keep doing this for a while. And eventually I started looking at properties, and you just try and figure out the 10%. And I was getting close to the 10% because obviously 20% would have taken longer. And I just thought, well, I'll pay LMI. It doesn't matter as long as I get my foot in the door. So yeah, definitely the more I kept looking at my savings account going up and up, it really motivated me to keep going, because I could keep doing it. I just got to just keep watching myself and be motivated. So.
We see that a lot, don't we, Phil, on the show when we talk to investors like this, so the determination that they have to have the goal and then to save for it and to make it happen. I know we were talking off air as well with Alana, and you were saying that you're working at Macca's and just working through Macca's and saving up, and you bought your first property at the age of 18. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I started working at Macca's as soon as I could and basically put every penny away. Didn't really know what I was going to do with it at that time, but I knew I wasn't frivolous with my money. I was pretty cautious and smart. So yeah, put it away and started looking at property just as a good, basically, something to put it. At the time I bought it was in 2008, and the first homeowners was at its peak with the 14 and no stamp duty, so kind of had pretty good luck there.
Double whammy.
Yeah, I got the double whammy on that one, so that helped me get in, and then I moved into it with a couple of friends, so it was like paying a small rent rather than a full mortgage to myself. So.
Yeah, and that was sort of dovetailing with
Yeah,
at the same time.
What was your first property, Alana? What did you buy and where was it?
It was a 3-bedroom house in the Hawkesbury area in Blythe Park.
How much was it? What did you pay for it?
I paid $307,000.
Okay, back in 2008. Okay, that's pretty good. What sort of valuation on it now? Do you still have it?
Had it revalued not that long ago actually, and it came in at 580.
Okay.
560.
565.
565. There you go,
Pretty
somewhere
good.
in that range.
And the way you played it was you just got a bunch of friends in there. So you had one bedroom. You got someone in the other 2 rooms.
Yeah,
and they
that's
helped
right.
Underwrite the cost
Yep.
of the mortgage. That's pretty good. And what was your first property, Robert?
So I bought in Penrith. That was 2012. What sold me on the house was it had a drive-through garage.
Okay.
I had to
Oh,
get
so
it.
you go in through and out the other side.
On the other side, I can wash my car in the backyard, which
Yeah.
is a boy thing. But yeah, so I got that for 308. They had offers at 299, and that's when you could put offers above and all that. And I said 305 as initially because I just kind of wanted it, and then they said 310. I said, oh, he's biting off more than he can chew, so I just said 308, and then
Was that a three-bedder?
3 better, yeah.
In Penrith or one of the suburbs near Penrith?
No, yeah, it's in actually
Penrith,
the
it's
borderline. Yeah, Penrith between Penrith and Cranebrook, there's a Andrews Road which divides it, so it's right on the border of Penrith.
And you paid
308.
Okay. I reckon that's worth a lot more than that today.
I got valued, I think, last year for 480, so
Okay.
it was a bit low. But I mean, obviously, you can just get it revalued again, and it should be in the 5s easy. So,
It's interesting. I don't know if you picked up that we pretty much had the same purchase price.
Yes, I know.
3 years apart, or a bit more than that.
Oh,
But
yes.
and when we got together and we started investing, they had a very similar value. So when we kind of revalued them, it was interesting that it was early days with us, and we were able to kind of withdraw the similar amounts of line of credit to do our joint stuff. So it was interesting that we had the same purchase, the same value when we met. So we were on very
Coming into the
level playing
relationship
fields. Yeah.
with exactly the same assets, which
Yeah.
is good. You know,
Yeah.
it's And when did you guys work out that you had a common passion for property? Was it quite early in your relationship, or was it something that took a little time before you sort of started going down that path? Sound like a relationship person.
Yeah, no,
Everything on the show, Phil. Everything on the show.
I think that's what brought us more together was a passion for property, and then eventually we just didn't know how to convert it to wealth. And then we did go to a grand design show in Sydney, and then there was a stall for I think it was a guy who would. There's someone was saying that you want to promote a wealth and property, and then we just went to a day thing, and it just opened our minds on what else you could do. Like you can get out there and try and do renovations, or kill more properties to get get a bigger yield by doing a granny flat. And that's what we thought. Well, maybe we should join forces more, and actually get out there and buy some more property, because one each is not going to do anything for us. We can have a PPR and one rental. It's not going to do much. So.
Started us on a bit of a journey, I guess.
I've been doing this podcast for sort of a year or so, and something that you just said then, which I think was probably one of the most succinct things I've heard. You said convert a passion for property to wealth. And I think that's a really good, important point. A lot of people have a passion for property, but they don't actually know why they have a passion for property. And some people might watch The Block and they go, I have a passion for property, and the passion for property is I want to make something look nice or put some fancy furnishings in, or isn't a really cool bathtub tap or something or other. And their passion for property is very design orientated or very sort of stylistically orientated. A property investor needs to have a passion for property, very important, but that passion needs to be for wealth creation.
That's right.
Because this is why you do it.
Yep.
You know?
Very much so.
So what's the long-term goal? With that in mind, what's the long-term goal for you guys to turn, obviously a passion for property that you have, but what is those wealth goals for you, and why have you set those goals?
With what we've got now, unencumbered would be a nice amount per like as an annual. I think it's about $2,500 per week, the rents.
Okay.
If they're unencumbered, so that's where we are, kind of in accumulation. We're kind of like consolidating a bit, but to get that, to knock obviously the debt down, we'd want to do more developments to obviously get chunks of cash to perhaps keep going with joint ventures later on when serviceability kind of runs a bit low, because I want to slowly transition to maybe spending more time doing project management later on after I do this development, because obviously I've got experience, I can help others and joint venture with other people. So in terms of what we got, we're happy with. I just want to try and knock down the debt of it. Like, that'll be the next kind of step.
So I guess the goal is financial freedom and not being tied to a job, and it's our choice what we do with our day. And I guess, as Rob kind of touched on, project management is something we'd really like to get into and helping other people do these sorts of deals, but you know, the biggest scale developments as well, which you can only do when you have cash flow behind you. So I guess, yeah, that's our kind of longer term goal.
You guys, you have a shared passion for property, which is good, and that passion is for wealth creation. So I think what I'm hearing, and Tim, I don't know if you can tell me whether I'm summarising this correctly, is property investment is going to give you guys the freedom to have choice in the future, and what that choice is going to be is probably going to be influenced by what you want to do at that period of time. So, and it's an empowerment thing, property investment. It is the fact that if you have equity, if you have, you know, a substantial asset that you do not own too much money on, you've got the freedom then to actually do something with it. You pull that money out and use it for doing other things. You can keep growing and evolving your portfolio. So you mentioned, Robert, that you have just recently acquired a block of land. Is that right?
Yep.
And talk me through what you've got. 9 properties in your portfolio, and I think there's 10 dwellings on it. So I imagine one's like got a duplex or something on it. Is that
granny flat?
A granny flat.
Back, yeah.
Okay, so you've got a granny flat on it. So it's quite a large portfolio. So have you sold any of your properties that you've ever bought? No. So it's just buy and hold strategy.
Just buy and hold so far. Yeah.
Your first property, so they're both sort of western suburbs of Sydney, the first 2 you bought before you met each other.
Yep.
Where are the other properties, where are the properties located?
The first one we bought together was Warrington, which is obviously just down the road.
Penrith way?
Yep. That, because we just want to do the whole granny flat thing to get the yield up. So we bought that for $405 in January last year. Did a 3-week reno and it got revalued at $510. So obviously it was during the boom too, so that kind of helped a bit, but we did a bit of a reno on it, so that was all right. And then we went to Nowra down south. Main reason is there's a massive infrastructure overhaul there.
Yeah, the new road's going through there through Berry, which is speeding everything up.
That's right.
Lot. Yeah,
they're kind of bypassing Berry, which is bad, but it's going to Nowra, so it's all right. So, you know, our area still gets hit. But we wanted to get something with a bit of land, so maybe do a subdivision later on. But we bought a shack. It wasn't a shack, it's more of just a fibro house with an extension. So it's a 3-bed originally, and then it did a reno for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and that one we bought for $228, but they had $250 on it. But because we had some data, we had CoreLogic, we managed to check that it was on the market for a good 2 months, and eventually when we came to the property, I mean, there was like a car seat out the front that the tenants were using, and there was oil pans in the front yard.
So it wasn't marketed very well?
No, it was,
and it had some very bad tenants in, which is an interesting story for a bit later, I guess, when we get to what we did with the reno.
Yeah.
About 6 months or so after we purchased it. But yeah.
So that was property number 3?
4.
Warrington.
Yep, Nowra. And then they went to Queensland. Yeah, we got your unit.
Yeah, I brought a unit in Eagleby in Queensland, relatively cheap, mainly for yield, when we first kind of started. So we went back up there to have a look at what else was up there, and we got a big corner block that we're planning on developing in the future. It's a 1,200 square metre corner block.
Okay.
So we're looking at developing that when we get the opportunity.
You moved sort of out of that area to Queensland. Do you follow it yourselves, or are you working with buyers agents?
There was obviously a lot of talk at the time about the growth corridor in Queensland and going up there, so it was that was one of the reasons, and the yield with growth potential, I guess, like hasn't gone up an awful lot, but you've also got that cash flow coming in, so
right.
it's less risk than just banking on yield.
Okay.
So it's 1,200 square metres with a 3-bedroom
Queenslander on it.
Queenslander on it.
So yeah.
Okay, what'd you pay for that?
305.
305. Okay, on 1,200. So on a corner block.
Yeah.
So something that you can split down the middle and put 2 residents on.
At least 2, possibly 3.
And how did you
on
go
the
about
area.
understanding the council regulations with battle axe or splitting titles or dual residencies on single blocks? Did you research that heavily before you purchased the property?
Yeah, reading DCPs and getting an understanding of what the council will allow and where they're going.
I guess at the time we didn't think too much of developing it straight away, so we just, at the time you could do 400 square blocks on it, but we didn't do enough research to find out that they were changing the law, or not the law but the zoning. So it's different now, but you can't do that at the moment. So we could still split it into 2 and put a granny flat on the back, so you still could put three dwellings on it, but you couldn't do 3 separate titles. But there's still a cash and a possible sell later on if we had to.
Okay.
But there's potential there still. And then we thought we'd get some cash flow up, so we went out to Broken Hill.
Okay. Broken Hill.
Drove out there.
Australia's most affordable suburb, they say, or
It
city.
is. It is.
You still buy out there for like $80,000.
We got it for 45.
Oh, there you go. What'd you buy for $45,000 out in Broken Hill?
3-bedroom miners cottage
Yeah.
with a tenant in it.
Yeah. They
For
haven't
45 grand.
moved. Yeah.
Well, they had 55. The agent said give them 50, and we just went straight for 45.
And
It was
accepted
deceased
it.
estate, I think.
Yeah.
So
With a tenant in it, you say?
Yeah, tenants in it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
15% yield, rental yield. So,
So what do they pay?
absolutely.
What are they paying like
130.
$130 a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
on
that's
45
sort of-
grand.
yeah, but that's, I think, half disability pension or something like that. So half of it
So
is
it's
secure.
stable.
It's stable. He's got kids, so obviously he's been there for 7 years. We did the background before we even bothered going up, because
Yeah.
we don't want to buy a property that's vacant, because then we need to, obviously fix repairs and then obviously advertise it, and then, that's time or money that we're not making on it.
And your goal was to generate some cash there anyway, as
That's
you
right.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah, cash flow.
Even it out, so
What do you think of Broken Hill? Did you spend long out there? It's a long
stayed
drive.
overnight.
Weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, left Friday at 7 p.m, got there at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and then
You drove overnight?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're just the same shift you've been doing at work.
Yeah,
right?
I was right. She did the sleep shift and I just kept driving. I was like, this is kind of keep focused, because it's so flat. You can see lights far away, and they're always road trains, of course, but you just got to stay focused because the kangaroos.
Was there heaps of roos bouncing around?
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere, aren't
on
they?
the wrong side of the road, they're just sitting there, and you're like, all right, I'm doing 90 Ks an hour, so you're just like freaking out, like, don't jump in front of the car, please.
On the wrong side of the road, they don't know the left and the
That's
right.
right. Well, you don't see that many cars at night, so.
How did you find the agent? How many places did you look at when you were out at Broken Hill? Was there only the one, or was
No,
it
it was about 4 or 5.
all getting marketed by different real estate agents?
Yeah,
We
one
went to
had,
about 3 different agents, so we went around with 3 different agents to a couple of houses each.
How did you find that experience? Did they drive you in their car, or did
no, we followed.
you follow?
They all had utes
Yeah,
with the cowboy gear on. Oh, mostly had the jeans and the cowboy shoes.
it's real Australia out there.
It
isn't
is.
It's great. I love it.
It's good, but it's not that bad of a place. Like, they've even got like a massive Reese. Like, you think Reese is a pretty high-end bathroom
Plumbing
place.
company. Yeah.
They had that there. Like, the main street was very clean, very, very honest.
I think it's brilliant. I had my
Yeah.
Bucks party out in
Oh, did
Broken Hill. Yeah. Well, a little town called Silverton, which
Yeah,
is,
went to there
which
because of
is
Mad Max.
really
and all
quite
that.
close. So yeah, we stayed there, and there's
Oh,
a
that's
pub
good.
there.
Yeah, the pub's
just
awesome.
out of the way. So
Yeah.
I thought Broken Hill was excellent.
Yeah, nothing wrong
I
with it.
don't know whether I want to live out there, but
No, good investment place.
But in terms of a cash yielding investment,
That's right.
if that's what you're looking for, it's probably not a bad place to go. But we're after Broken Hill then. What was the next property?
Went to Moree.
So another sort of similar type of town.
Yeah,
Northern New South Wales, Moree.
yeah.
Yep.
That's about only a 7-hour drive. It's not too bad. Did that
Okay.
in a day.
It's another cash flow play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the yield's not as good. It's about 14.
Okay.
But,
What'd you pay for your Moree place?
paid 85 for 230 a week.
It's not a bad yield.
The thing with that one is, we originally went there to see a block of units. In the photos looked great, but then we got to the actual block and it was ripped apart. Like, the air conditioners were all ripped out of this is kind of a lower social demographic area of Moree.
Yeah.
The bricks were being pulled out of the wall.
Okay.
It was pretty extreme. So apparently,
So you're looking to buy the whole block, were you?
yeah, it was a good yield. I think it was about the same. It was about 3 units yielding about 14% as well.
Okay.
But we went there and we're like, oh, But then we asked her, the lady, because it's good to get on the ground, because you actually get a feel for the area and see where the good and bad bits are, because some agents are pretty helpful if you actually show up. You know, sight unseen, you know, you could still get a good buy, but it's good to get a feel of where you could future
Called
invest.
the ground truth.
That's right.
Ground
There's
truth.
There's a lesson in that, isn't there, Phil? Eh? Do the work.
Massive lesson. You got to do the miles if you're buying in regional towns. And you know, buying in regional towns, depending why you're buying, but buying in regional towns is very different than buying in suburban or metropolitan locations. So you need to be very clear about what your strategy is, because a lot of people get burned going to regional towns.
That's right.
It might be cheap to buy there, but why is it cheap to buy there?
That's right. Well, obviously the main reason for most is mining towns, and people still think Broken Hill is a major mining town. It still is, but the actual main driver now is actually health. Because of the demographic of the area, the state New South Wales have put a massive new hospital there. Like, it was still getting constructed and all there, and it was pretty nice. And second is tourism, and third's mining. And then for Moree, it's agriculture is the main driver there. And then obviously there's a lot of land, so unless you obviously have a massive natural disaster. I mean, there's heaps of land to be farmed, I guess. But with this one we bought, it actually wasn't on the market yet. It was a deceased estate as well. But we asked the agent, we said, do you have anything else that might be coming up? And then she showed us this one.
Yeah, it wasn't actually one of the ones that we had on our list to see while we were there, and just talking about what we were looking for. She took us to this one that I don't even think she officially had the listing, but because we were there. And that's what I always say, you got to get on the ground because you're a person. And if you're not a person, they'll sell you anything, but they're not going to sell you rubbish when you're in front of them. So it helps establish that relationship. So
Moree was the last property before you bought this most recent block, is that right? Or
Yeah,
that's right.
That's
okay.
right.
This block that you've just bought in sort of
Cranebrook
Hawkesbury region.
That's Cranebrook. Penrith again. Yeah.
Okay, so you bought in Cranebrook,
Yeah,
did you?
that's right,
Okay.
yeah.
So Cranebrook is a suburb of
Penrith.
Yeah.
It's sort of north, south, east, west of Penrith. I'm trying to work out the geography.
It's like between Londonderry and Penrith, so it's probably
Okay.
It's almost next to it. It's pretty close.
I think I know where it is. Yeah, so what's the size of the block?
792.
792, and it's on a main sort of thoroughfare, or
Oh no, it's in the first subdivision of Cranebrook. So
It's not far off the main, so you're close to everything, but
Okay.
you're not on the main road with all the traffic.
so it's a new subdivision.
No, it's in the established area actually,
Okay.
but there is 2 new subdivisions either side of it, so it was a very rare find to find this land.
Okay, so it's just a block
That's right.
with just a bit of
Big
scrub on
corner
it,
block.
or is
It's
it
a few
fully
trees on it.
cleared?
Yeah.
And a couple
But,
of cars.
A couple of cars.
Coronas on there. Yeah,
What'd you pay? What'd you pay for the block?
that one was 480,
480 for the block. For
Yeah.
sorry, how many squares?
790.
790. And what are you going to do with it?
So we're building 2 houses on it, so they're going to be a detached duplex, so they have to be strated because the block's not big enough to have a Torrance title, but they're going to be completely detached. So our plan with that is to sell off one of them, and then we're going to live in the other one. So that's going to be our principal place of residence where we move into and pay down the debt basically.
Okay, so they're going to be strated though. So
Yeah, they are.
So you're going to live on strated premises. So whoever buys the other property will be part of the strata.
That's right. We'll have some common property. Yeah.
And what's the cost associated with stratering that, and so the immediate cost to strata it, and then the long-term cost in terms of the compliance associated with strata?
Yeah, the cost of and compliance with just the 2 is going to be very, very low because it's basically just a shared insurance and having a plan done. There's no ongoing costs like in a unit that you have to put a maintenance budget in and all of those things. So what I was saying was there's actually a new kind of estate pretty close to it that they have quite a hefty strata for a freestanding Torrance house, but because they've got all this shared property, they've got shared parks and pools and all this private area and this landscaping. So I guess like the area is kind of accustomed to it, but it wouldn't be, because it's just the 2 of you, it's very, very low.
So you put 2 freestanding properties side by side, identical properties?
Not quite identical, but very,
Color-coded
very
different.
similar.
Color-coded different?
Yeah, a couple of different windows and a couple of different colours. And
What's the build cost for each of the properties?
About 258.
250. So you're going to drop 500 on it,
Yeah.
Yep.
plus your 480. So you're all in for $1 million once
Yeah.
you pay for everything else, yeah?
Yep.
And a bit more. And what are you going to sell the property for?
low to mid 7s.
So you'll sell one of them for low to mid 7s?
Yeah.
Okay. So the objective for you guys in this case is...
To have as low a debt on our PPR as possible.
Okay, so that's what you're trying to do. And will you look to utilise that equity to keep buying in the future, do you think? Or are you going to try and drive down your principal place of residence over time, so it's completely unencumbered.
Well, the beauty with that is we can revalue it and have the line of credit, and it won't be the PPR debt, it'll be investment debt that we can write off from a taxable income still. So I guess we'll see how we're sitting with serviceability when that is all done. I guess one of the things that's really pushed us when it comes down to sacrifice is we moved back home with our parents to kind of get our serviceability going, to basically be able to jumpstart all this. So, I mean, once we do move out, and we'll assess where we are at the time.
So you're still essentially making sacrifices then, living in the whole, it depends if you want to say it's a sacrifice, but I can live in
We're married, it's a sacrifice.
Me and my wife Victoria moved in my mum's, it's not going to work, I don't think. But again, it's going back to sacrificing or compromising. And so how long are you back at home with parents before you think you can get out and have your own home?
Well, as soon as it's built, we're moving in. So, and we would have moved into one of the properties, but because we are building, we've got the land debt that with no rent, obviously. So to move into our other ones, that we'd be responsible for that debt as well. So just from a smartness, and then we'll have the building loan. So we're just basically staying there until the build's ready, and then we'll be moving into that.
Is it hard to get someone to construct the property for you? Seeing that you're in an area of Western Sydney where there is an immense amount of building going on right now, there is developments popping up everywhere. Can you actually find someone to build a place for you, so you don't have to hold that land any longer and pay interest on it?
Yeah, I've spoken to a few project builders, just trying to get what they actually can build, because obviously these days narrow lots are the way to go. That's how most project builders are going, because that's the way the new subdivisions are. It's not a lot about the width anymore. They go back heaps and are very short in width. That's what most builds are based on. That's why we tried to get a block that we could work with, and this one is pretty good in that type of concept, so it fits well.
We tried to find a plan that fitted our block, so where the builders have their
like an off-the-shelf type thing, so you don't have to fiddle too much with it, because that's when as soon as you start making alterations, things start getting expensive.
That's right, yeah.
And how are you going with financing all your properties? Do you have a mortgage broker, or do you do it all yourself?
We do have a broker. We're on our third broker actually, but no, we've got a really good one at the moment.
And is that a local broker that lives out that way?
Yeah.
How did you find them?
At property meetings actually, just events that we were at, and just got talking to her.
So you approached the broker, or the broker approached you?
No, we're just generally meeting. What do you do? Build a relationship. And then when we were looking at refinancing, and we chatted to her, and she was very good, so just keep going back to her.
Just felt like there was a connection.
Yeah, that's
understood
right.
what you wanted to do.
Yeah, very much so, and it's very much a broker that understands what you want to do.
Cool.
You've hit the nail on
Are
that
they a
one.
property investor themselves?
They are, yeah.
Okay, that's good. So the decision to go from your second broker to your third broker, what didn't the second broker do that meant that you didn't want to stay a client of theirs?
I guess looking forward, and also, they did the loan that we went there for, but they'd never really tried to say, do you want any more? But it's more, they actually maxed us out with a single bank, and that was pretty hard to get out of, which we had a bit of untangling to do with this other one. But we basically got maxed out and couldn't borrow anymore, and had to kind of refinance, move some, so that we had our lending spread out. So I guess they were very much just looking at that one deal and what we wanted to get through then, rather than looking at the forward picture and how many we're going to potentially have over our portfolio and investing.
Yeah. So how many different lenders do you have now that you use?
3.
3 different lenders. Major banks, are they? Or
Yeah.
you can name them, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, Commonwealth, NAB and Rams.
Okay, with
So
Rams, are you?
they're all between the 3, yeah.
Okay. How did you end up with the Rams loan? Was that a direct thing, or did your broker put you into them?
No, that was one of our brokers actually that we came across from another person that we met at an investing event that we were talking to, and they said, I've got a really good broker, talk to these guys, and that's how we got onto the Rams. So. And
how are you going with serviceability? You mentioned a bit earlier that it's getting a bit tighter, but can you keep borrowing, do you think?
We're good at the moment, but that's because, as you said, a lot of sacrifice, no kids yet, we're still at home, so all of the mortgages are looking after themselves. They've all got tenants, and we've got very good jobs, so
that's cool.
At the moment it's very good. But
and if raising a family is something that you're going to look at in the future, is that going to put the brakes, you think, on property investment, or do you think you'll be able to have both?
We definitely want to have both. We're definitely looking at even doing like joint ventures, developments with others. We want to keep going with the property stuff, even if we're not doing it all ourselves.
That's good.
So yeah, pretty much what she said, but obviously, I mean, for serviceability for us to grow our portfolio, we're kind of good where we are now. But yeah, in terms of trying to get chunk deals and that's where we'll get more, I guess, out of the box. doing offline deals and that, because at the moment all we've done is online stuff, which is good. It's good to get used to how the process works, talk to agents, get your team behind you. But obviously if you want to get the, some deals are very profitable if you got to get out there and actually talk to owners one-on-one, or build relationships with builders and actual people that can help you do a development, or just the right people in the right area that are happy to share time and
I guess
skills
we are looking at paying down our portfolio at the moment, because we're in quite a good position in what we've got and the rent that's coming from them, and so as we pay down the debt, that'll be more in our pocket.
Good. So we're going to wind up. We've run out of time. It's gone for half an hour, which is longer than what we thought, wasn't it, Adam? Yeah, he's
not very loud from Adam.
No. He's got the wound up. Let's just finish off with a couple of real quick questions. What's your number one tip for people who are looking to start developing?
I guess know the council's requirements. If you start with a good ball, then obviously you're going to be on their side. If you try and change the earth with them, then it's going to be harder for you, and it's going to take more holding costs, and it's going to put you 2 steps back. So just study the DCP or LEP, which is just what council requires, and obviously try and build within what they want to do. Don't try and push the boundaries too much, because it's going to cause dramas and put you behind a bit.
Your number one tip for sort of researching where to buy, what would you say?
Get educated and network. That was going to be my tip for the first one as well. So I guess it comes to the same thing. Put in the time, get on the floor.
And did you say network? Did you?
Network.
So network with who?
Like-minded people that can help fuel your passion, but you can get advice and tips, people that have done it before, and make you believe that it's possible.
And what's your number one tip for investing with a partner?
A lot of patience. She's put up with a lot of crap from me.
Okay, investing as a team is probably, here we go, it's probably a better way to frame it.
I guess have a goal in mind together you can work towards, because if you've got 2 different goals, you're going to just go, you're going to, not going to work together. Obviously focus on what you guys want financially, and then work towards that and try and bounce ideas off each other.
About being on the same page.
Like most things in life.
That's right.
It's good.
Yeah.
Working as a team together, just listening to you guys talking this afternoon, it's very clear that you work well together and that you dovetail well together. So it's been awesome to watch that. Yeah, good luck with that as you go forward. I know you guys are going to do well.
Thank you.
Let us know what's happening. We'll get you back in, and
yep.
once you finish his build, you probably got grey hair then. He's just
I've already got grey hair. I've been dying it since I met him.
The one point I'd finish on is the comment you said, Robert, which I thought was really pertinent, was convert a passion for property into wealth. So you guys are definitely down that path.
Cool.
Good on you.
Thank you.
It's excellent. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Remember to go to smartpropertyinvestment.com.au. We're on all the social stuff. If you've got any questions for me and or Tim, or if you want to write in and ask Alana and Robert anything, contact us at editor@smartpropertyinvestment.com.au. Remember, we're back every single week. If you like what we're talking about, please rate us on iTunes. It's always good. The more ratings and rankings we get, the more people will listen to us. So we're trying to continue to build this property investment community. So thanks again, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.